years ago I lived in Fargo, and when I was in Fargo I entered a film into the Fargo Film Festival, I think in 2008, and when I entered it, it was a video I made in 2000 of a trip I made from Kathmandu, Nepal to Lhasa, Tibet, and it was of monasteries and the dogs around the monasteries, and it was done with a digital 8mm camera that had no video stabilization, and it was limited compared to what we have now with high def and video stabilization. So it's kind of Blair Witchy, and I used a lot of music by Bill Frisell. All the music, the whole soundtrack is Bill Frisell except for some dogs barking in the middle. And I had to get permission to use the music for the video, and Phyllis Ohama from Frisell's management company said I could use it for festivals. So I entered it into the Fargo Film Festival in 2008, and right around that time I visited with a good friend of mine, Chris LaPalme, and he gave me some advice, and it had to do with a judge who was part of the Fargo Film Festival determining committee, and because I had done some things in the past that might have been not nice to that guy, or been associated with that kind of stuff, my friend suggested I enter it into the Fargo Film Festival as pseudonymous work. And I went back to the Fargo Film Festival. I got my application back and the discs that I submitted, and then resubmitted them with a pseudonymous name, David Nelson, who was a friend of mine who I hung out with around that time. So when I reburned the discs, I changed the titles on the video so that they said David Nelson instead of Gregory Pankratz. And I resubmitted them, got the old discs back. Then upon returning home, I realized that the videos that I burned with the David Nelson information were unplayable. It was a format that's not really anything near universal. So I went back with a new set of discs that were burned with the David Nelson credits and resubmitted them. This is the third time I've been back to that office to submit discs. And then the guy who was the judge for that, one of the judges for the film festival in Fargo, passed away. And then I was really conflicted because I thought, why should I have my video out there under the name of David Nelson? So I actually went back a fourth time and submitted the discs a fourth time. They were copies of the original disc. And it was never selected from the Fargo people. And then moved to Fort Collins a year or so ago, and found out about the Center City Film Festival. Center City Film Festival. That's sponsored by the Lyric Cinema here in Fort Collins, which is our alternative, independent film theater, where you can see things that might be things you might see at Landmark Cinemas. Anyway, they have the Center City Film Festival, and I re-entered the 30 Minutes in Tibet video, which is about my trip on the Friendship Highway between Kathmandu and Lhasa, and all the dogs I saw. So that's being considered. it's also a really poor quality copy because I can't find any of the original stuff, the tapes or the discs, which I wouldn't want to re-edit it anyway. But it does look kind of cool. It's kind of pixelated, so it's a little artsy maybe, and it's also Blair Witchy, which is something that could be criticized. Yeah, but it does have really interesting images of dogs, and it also has some really good music by Bill Frisell. So, if you're a Facebook person, maybe you could go to the Center City Film Festival Facebook page and ask if there's any videos or any films this year in their film festival that concern dogs or Asia or Buddhism. Just something to think about. Using social media to promote it. And if you guys can go and rabble rounds to show interest in it, maybe I'll get a better chance of being selected. And then have my 15 minutes of fame, which I still haven't got. And I'm worried about it because I don't know. 15 minutes. When I look back on it, there's been some great 15 minutes. Maybe this isn't one of them, but there have been some great 15 minutes, and I don't know which ones were the most famous. And I thought this might just get it taken care of. So, if you get a chance, you can even message me somehow.